for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back from the video, and today me bringing you guys my full 4-6 defensive ebook in Madden 21. Now this might be the most information I've told in an entire video, so as far as getting better on the defensive side of the ball, there might not be a better video out there other than this one, at least on my channel. I'm going to go over every single play that personally I run, so it's only going to be the stuff that I like to do. I'm not going to just talk about plays just to talk about plays. I'm going to go over stuff that I actually like to run and have success with online. 4-6 defensive playbook is a specialty playbook. It's not going to be a team one, so before I get those comments, it is a specialty playbook. And yeah, as far as the formations that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to be going over the 3-3-5, 3-3-5 wide, of course, and then the big nickel over G mainly. There are some other good stuff, but again, I'm talking about the stuff that I like to run. I'm really just combining all three of these really good formations in one. Again, multiple plays per formation, so there's going to be a lot of information, a lot of setups for you guys to work with. Also, before into the video, make sure you guys do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. These ebooks take a long time to make, so if you could hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, and subbing is the best way to support me and support the channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, so we're going to start out in 3-3-5 wide. It's my favorite formation in the game, at least defensively. And again, I'm going to be talking about 4 plays out of this. So again, that's going to be the most plays out of a particular formation in this video. We got the Mike Blitz 3, Mike Blitz 0 for user rush purposes. We also have cover 2 man, just a solid man coverage based defense. You could always go with cover 1 if you like that a little bit better. And then lastly, we got that cover for show 2. As far as normal 3-3-5, I'm going to be talking about Tampa 2 and cover 2 man. Again, you can go cover 1 if you like that a little bit better. But just those two, and then big nickel over G, I'll go over cover 1, and then that cover 3 sky run defense. So starting out, we're going to just, again, go to this 3-3-5 wide. I'm going to start out with my favorite play, Mike Blitz 3. And yeah. Now again, since I'm going to start out with Mike Blitz 3, a zone coverage based play, I'm going to come out in Tampa 2. If I was planning on running man coverage, I would probably come out in that 2-man under. But I'll probably be showing all these 3-3-5 wide setups at once. So we'll start out with the Tampa 2. As far as this, actually, I lied. We're going to go over this cover 4 play out of 3-3-5 wide against the gun bunch. It's better against bunch, but yeah, I'll just show like an inside zone here. We'll just set up some basic plays. Curl flat, really good play. We'll come out in that. I'm actually going to start out with the run defense, though. On defense, again, we're going to go over that a little bit briefly. A lot of people are passing. It's a pass-heavy game. So we'll talk about the run a little bit out of particularly every formation, really. But yeah, let's start out with the Mike Blitz 3. So Mike Blitz 3, our run defense portion. Inside zone out of trips, probably one of the most popular runs in the game. You guys all know that. So you're just going to press your DBs. You're going to shift to the strong side, or rather the weak side, the tight end side. And then you're also going to slant to the right. So I'm shifting to the right, and I'm also slanting to the right just to kind of show you how the gap shoot works. I'm just going to kind of stand here, and the ball is snapped. You shoot through the gap, and you hit stick. So it's very similar to the user rush setup. If you guys know that, again, we'll talk about that later. But it is similar to the user rush setup. You'll see that in a couple of minutes here. But yeah, so you're just going to shift to that right side. You're also going to slant to the right. You're going to press. Press is going to help with the cutback a little bit. And then you're just going to pinch your linebackers if you want to. Again, that's unnecessary, but it's something that you could do. So again, we'll audible, boom, you see. It's not going to work particularly every time. I think I ran through actually a little bit quick there. Was the reason that it didn't work. But I'll set it up again, just kind of show the consistency of the play. Again, inside zone, we'll snap the ball, and boom, you see there. So that's the one problem with the inside zone, is that you can cut it back. I've talked about that in separate videos, but this is just kind of the base stuff. If they were to run at you, this is what you do. Again, we're going to mainly focus on the pass defense, but you see how we were able to shoot that in the first time. There we go again. So it's a pretty base, good defense. You can always spy an extra guy if you have to, but let's move into the pass coverage. That's probably why you guys are here. So again, we're actually going to set up the exact same way. Again, sometimes you're not going to know if they're running or passing. We're going to mix up our backside adjustments. Now, the first way to run this is, actually I forgot to adjust my zone drop, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Now, as far as your zone drops and your coaching adjustments go as a whole, you're going to set your curl flats to 25 yards and your flats to 5 for pretty much every setup. Now, there's going to be 2 exceptions to that. It's going to be the Tampa 2 out of 335, just 335, and then it's going to be the cover 4 show 2, because you can't adjust zone drops if you're running match style coverage. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. You can leave auto flip on, and now back to the video. Alright, we're back here, and again, we adjusted our zone drops. First thing you're going to do out of our coverage is, again, shift to that side. You don't have to slant or anything, but just press, shift to the right, then you're going to shade over the top immediately to get those curl flats. And then all you have to do is put your X linebacker in a hard flat and your A linebacker in a hard flat, just like so. Our first setup is going to be the stock 2-man rush. As you see here, we have the 3 receiver hook with Alden Smith. That's going to help out. And overall, it's just going to be very good coverage. We'll set up kind of a standard type setup. Now, the curl might get open. That curl route is pretty good, but you see the hard flat's going to be defended. Post is defended. Again, like I mentioned, that curl route is going to be open a little bit. But our 3-back hook did a good job of taking away the angle route as well. But yeah, so we'll set up again that defense, just audible to Mike Blitz 3, shift to the right, press, X in a hard flat, A in a hard flat, and then you can shade over the top. So it's a really simple defense. Simple defenses do tend to be better online. Just keeping it simple. You don't want to overthink it. Do what works, and you'll have really good success. Let's go with something kind of like verticals. Something like this is a pretty popular setup. Who knows? Maybe they put A on like a little slant or drag. I don't know what type of setups people necessarily run out of this, but we'll snap the ball, kind of work down the drag. You see our 3 receiver hook almost acts as a QB spy as well. Now, you're not going to get really good pressure, particularly against a very good offensive line and not a very good defensive line in the Dallas Cowboys. But again, in Ultimate Team, you get some better pass rushers. The pressure is not going to be as big of an issue if you ask me. So I'll show that one more time. Press, shift to the right, X in a hard flat, A in a hard flat, and shade over the top. Let's set up something a little bit different here, and we will go with a little post to slant combo, just like this. And you will see it's going to be taken away. The 3-back hook is going to kind of lurk down on one of those routes. It defends B relatively well there. You get an athletic D lineman, it's going to help. Now again, if you get all day, sometimes that can happen. But with better D linemen, I wasn't really using. I was kind of watching the O-line there, but that is what happens. Now, you're getting dotted up. You can't get any pressure. What you're going to do is simply just rush that 3rd guy. Same adjustments. What I like to do is just slant outside, but I could also slant to the right for run defense purposes. Again, you're rushing 3. You're going to get a little bit better. You're going to get a little bit better pressure here. Again, boom, you see really quick there. Not as much time, and you're going to get better coverage. I'll show that one more time. Again, X in a hard flat, A in a hard flat, shift to the right, press, shade over the top, and then I can just slant to the right as a last second adjustment. This will be good, again, against the run and the pass, basically the same adjustments, and boom, you see pretty good coverage. Now, curl flat is one of those defenses or those plays that's really good because it has that curl that does sometimes get open against cover 3. If you see that happening, maybe you do some man coverage or make an adjustment here or there. But yeah, it's kind of off topic. Let's go into our next play, which is going to be the user rush. Now, user rush is going to be better against under center stuff, but I'm not going to audible. Otherwise, this video will be 3 hours long. But you're just going to basically, I'll show the user rush what you do. Now it's kind of set up a little bit weird here, but what you're going to do is just shift to a side. In particular, I like to shift to the right, usually just to give them the illusion that we're running the same defense, the run defense, or just a man coverage. So I'm going to shift to the right, and then I'm just going to slant to that left side. So it's a little bit different than our run defense. Now, make sure that you do also go ahead and move this free safety over because he's manned up on the running back, and you need him on that side. You could also just kind of shift over these guys a little bit so they're in better position. But here's basically what you're going to do. Let's go with verticals. And again, when the ball is snapped, you're just going to shoot straight through this gap. So I'm going to time it a little bit better because I do have 2 controllers. So you kind of want to be moving a little bit like this. But you're just going to snap the ball, and boom, you see. That was a pretty big drop by Cam, but still very quick pressure, very unexpected, especially when you're filtering through all of these plays. Again, you're just going to shift to a side, slant to the opposite side that you shifted of, and then move your user to the same side that you slanted of. So it's very simple. It might be a little bit confusing, but I think you guys can get it from the play art. And again, it's going to be a hot read. Your press, I don't recommend necessarily shading over the top because then you can get quick slanted or whatever. But just like kind of a stock press, again, I'll snap the ball. Even with the check and release zig, we were able to get through there. Very simple. Use it a lot, especially against under center. Let's just try kind of audibling once to under center just to show how effective it is. Let's just go with kind of a stock 4 verts here. But this is a big reason in particular why nobody's passing out of under center this year. It's something that I like to do, but unfortunately it's just not really feasible in this year's game. Again, we're going to set it up the exact same way out of single back. You snap the ball and boom. So you see the biggest difference is that you're running a shorter amount of time against single back and you can't draw back quick enough. Rather than in shotgun, you're already 5 yards, 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and it's just going to give you more time to get to the quarterback, if that makes any sense. But yeah, as far as the backside adjustments, I just like to leave that man coverage. I'm not going to get too glitchy necessarily. You could obviously kind of run the same concept out of Mike Blitz 3, but again, zone, it's an easier quick read rather than man. There's nothing necessarily that gets open against man in half a second or whatever. But let's move into our next play, which will be cover 2 man. Again, I'm going to stay in the trips tight end. As I mentioned previously, if you're running cover 2 man, I could start out in the cover 2 man at 3-3-5, then go to the 3-3-5-1 just for a simpler and smoother audible, because you see when I came out in stock Tampa 2 out of 3-3-5, then I audibled to the 2-man under and 3-3-5 wide, my right cornerback had to run all the way over, which is not something that you typically want. Now, let's hop into the adjustments. Again, I like to just shift to that same side that we've always been shifting to. And basically with this, what I'm going to do is I like to do one of 2 different things out of 3-3-5 wide. Again, I'm going to keep it relatively simple here. I'm just going to throw X in a curl flat. So it's important that you just put the blitzing guy in a curl flat. Now, I kind of flip these if I wanted to. Now, flipping is not recommended. It's a little bit tough of a situation just because that right outside linebacker is already manned up on the tight end. So if I wanted to flip these zones, I feel like crossers maybe are more likely to go from left to right, which they are. A good way to flip that would just to be put A on the curl flat, man up A, just man up your safety on this player right here. Now, if you're doing that, you're going to actually end up usering Thompson right here. And then with Jordan Lewis, I could put him in like a middle third. So that would be the first way to run it. I'll show it flipped the other way. So if you want to put the curl flat on the other side, it's a little bit tough. This is the reason that it's a little bit tough against trips, because he's auto-manned up on that one guy. But yeah, this would be my first way to run it. Getting 2-man rush, you can always bluff blitz the extra guy, but we'll just snap the ball, and you see the running back is actually going to block here, but really quick pressure, and we're able to get pretty good coverage there. Again, the curl flat's going to take away any crossers that might beat your man coverage. The other way to run it, going kind of piggybacking off our original point, is just to throw Thompson in the curl flat, and then I could actually use any of these guys. Now, it depends on how often your opponent is actually sending his running back out on a route. Now, I'm going to assume that he's usually sending him out in every play, so you do want that guy manned up initially. So if you're going to use the safety, I like to put one in a middle third, and then I'm just going to put the other guy on a blitz right here. So middle thirds do cover a lot of ground this year. Really, the only one that might beat it is X on an outside release fade. But other than that, your coverage is going to be pretty solid. I'm going to user A, go down to B. RB even has pretty good defense there. Just kind of lurk down on what you have. I'm more likely to lurk routes that are going from right to left because we don't have that extra curl flat depending on what side you're putting the adjustment on. So if I put the curl flat on the right, I'm going to use it to the left side. If I put the curl flat on the left, I'm going to use it to the right side. So simple little adjustments. But yeah, with that being said, let's hop into our last play out of 3-3-5 wide, cover 4. As I mentioned, I'm going to reset my zone drops to default, and I'm actually going to come out in it against gun bunch here. Alright guys, again, it's a zone coverage play, so I'm going to come out in 3-3-5. You could come out in that cover 4 out of 3-3-5, but this Tampa 2 works basically the exact same for us, so I'm just going to run out of that. Again, simple audibling process, X or square, deep out of the left, and then you can go ahead and press that RB in our case to audible. So I really only have one setup for this. I have talked about this in separate videos, but you're just going to press here. You're going to go ahead and throw LB in a deep half. That's going to help you not get cover 3 beaten. And against particular plays like a Z spot, set up kind of like this or whatever, something like this. In our case, usually the outside quarter is going to defend, I think, the corner out here, and then the quarter flat is going to take the out route. So those outside quarters play very aggressive. They like to jump corner routes, so you need a deep half so you don't get beat. It's basically what I'm saying. Now, our other adjustments, what you're going to do, man B up on B, and then I could man up this A linebacker on our running back, but sometimes he's blocked. A lot of times, most recently in the more popular gun bunches, there's a lot of blocking the running back, so rather than make him useless by manning him up, we're just going to throw him in a little hard flat. I could go curl flat as well. I don't see too many crossing routes out of gun bunch, though, where it's going left to right. And this hard flat's going to defend the playmaker with the solo side receiver. So if B was on a drag, which he is, and he had playmaker on him, more times than not, they're going to playmaker him back to the right, and our hard flat's going to take that away. Again, even though he's not adjusted by zone drops, he's just going to play standard hard flat zone. Now, this player gets a little bit tricky. I could go, excuse me, voice crack. I could go inside third, I could go deep half, or I could leave him in his inside quarter. Really depends on what he's doing. If he's just attacking the middle of the field with the Z spot, you're going to go inside third here, but it just depends on what he's doing. So the last adjustment you're going to do is throw X in a vertical hook. This will help with quick reads, streaks, and it's going to give you some help in the middle of the field. You can also blitz your user to get better coverage. But you see how he's not really open, even on a quick read. Coverage really well with RB and X with the match coverage on one side, and overall takes away anything my opponent would want. So again, I'll set up kind of the same thing. And if A was on a crosser, that's going to be my guy to take. But everything else is really done for me. So again, the setup, I know it's a little bit complicated. It's a lot of adjustments, but trust me, it is very, very solid here. So you're just going to put L1 in a deep half. You're going to put X in a vertical hook. You're going to man up B on B, and then you're going to throw A in a hard flat. So around 4 adjustments, not terrible, especially if you have those adjustments down. This guy, again, you could put in kind of whatever. I could shade inside if I feel a little bit more comfortable about that. But just take a look at the coverage on that left-hand side. Very, very solid. Look at how the inside quarter. That's an inside quarter. I didn't put him on an inside third there. He's going to play the streak actually almost on the left hash mark. So I don't think there's a need to put him in an inside third when he's going to play it like that. And he's also going to defend post, maybe a deep post from left to right a little bit better. So I'll show it one more time, go through a little bit quickly here. Man up B on B, A in a hard flat, X in a vert hook, LB in a deep half, blitz your user, and you are good to go. Let's go with something random, kind of like verticals. I'm going to work down RB. And you see how RB, he's kind of open, but look how the inside quarter almost matches on that. So even a deep post is going to be defended pretty well. But yeah, it's going to do it for our 3-3-5 wide. Again, the most popular formation, my favorite formation, so that's why I spent a lot of time on it. But let's hop into the regular 3-3-5 now. Now we're going to adjust our zone drops once again. We're going to adjust our zone drops once again here. For when I'm running stock 3-3-5, not audibling down, I actually like to go vice versa. So I'm going to set my flats at 25 and my curl flats to 5. Just because when I'm running 3-3-5, I'm usually running this Tampa 2. And even if I switch to cover 2 man, I can just shade underneath and over the top to get cloud flats instead of those curl flats. So it's not a big deal at all. I'm going to go with trips tight end again. This is pretty solid against that trips tight end formation. I'll just kind of go with a random type play. Something, let's go with like this. Just kind of a stock setup. Not terrible out of double and sail. Kind of set this up a little bit. So you're in 3-3-5. What you're going to do, we're going to go with a double flat. More times than not. And for our first setup, I'm going to go with my favorite personal setup. Then we'll hop into actually something a little bit more basic. So we're kind of going backwards here. Stick with me. So what you're going to do is you're going to throw Y in a bluff blitz. This is going to put him in a 3-receiver hook, and he's going to defend drags, posts, anything very, very well here. Backside tight end crosses, angle routes. And with a DB, it's going to be even better. We're using a D lineman. Now, out of 3-3-5, my favorite stock way to set it up is going to be to press, pinch your D-line, and spread your linebackers, just like this. I'm going to put both outside linebackers in curl flat zones. They're playing 5 yards again. And then I'm just going to blitz my user. So my user's biggest problem is I'm going to watch for anything deep down the middle of the field. That's our one hole in this defense. When you're giving yourself help in the middle of the field, that's something that you have to give up. So we'll just kind of snap the ball. You see B is going to be my biggest responsibility, but Y and X are defended pretty well here. Three-man rush, we should get some better pressure than this, but good defensive line play is going to kind of take that, or good offensive line play could take that away. Again, the setup, Y on a bluff blitz, pinch D-line, press, spread linebackers, X and A hard, or curl flat, A and A curl flat. Blitz your user, and you are good to go. Let's just kind of run it stock here. Boom, you see how Y and X are both taken away by that one zone. So it takes away usually two routes at once, leaving your user to maybe one route that you have maybe a hole in your defense, which again, our biggest hole with this setup is going to be the middle of the field. Now let's take that away. What I want to do if I were to take that away is I'm going to use this player right here, Darian Thompson, and I'm just going to throw Y and A inside third. I'm going to put A and A curl flat, and I'm going to throw Y in the curl flat. So just like this, now I have help in the middle of the field, but I don't have a three receiver hook, and it's going to be very tough on my user. So let's set up something. Let's go with, again, it's kind of the same play, but we'll just go with something like this. So that might be a setup that you would see. And again, I'm using Darian Thompson here because we have the curl flat on that same side. So you're going to use the cornerback side. You see coverage really well, quick throw, and the curl flat, or the clad flat's actually going to take that away. So it's just a good kind of mix between always putting your curl flats deep. This time the clad flats are deeper, so maybe tries to attack you vertically. That would be taken away. But let's hop into the man coverage now. Again, simple man coverage. We're going to create very similar concept that we did in 3-3-5 wide. Just going to throw Darian Thompson here in the curl flat. We're going to put Jordan Lewis in an inside third, and we're going to use this player right here, our strong safety. So very simple. Just got one curl flat on that side. Again, I can flip it by putting our strong safety in the curl flat, and then I would actually use Darian Thompson here. That would be the way to flip it, and that's probably my favorite, or the best way to run it, because you're expecting crossers, things down there. Now, I actually made a big mistake there. I forgot to turn it into a clad flat. So again, make sure that you remember, if you're sticking in 3-3-5, that you have to put a clad flat instead of a curl flat. So I would put A in a curl flat, then I would actually shade underneath to turn them into a hard flat, which would play that, but I like to shade back over the top, so my corners are going to play over the top, and now he's in a clad flat. Again, I would throw LB in a inside third. I would pinch my D-line and just blitz this user right here. Very, very solid coverage here. You see, boom, man coverage, standard man coverage stuff. Again, I talked about a lot of the stuff, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but I'll show it one last time here. Again, press, pinch. If I wanted to flip it, I would just throw Thompson in the zone, the curl flat, turn into a clad flat, blitz your user, and you are in business. So very solid play. Again, standard setup, but 3-3-5 is not terrible. It's fun to mix in, so that's why I kind of talked about it a little bit. But last but not least, let's move into the big nickel over G. Now, switching back to big nickel over G, I'm also going to adjust my zone drops back to what they originally were. Curl flats at 25 and flats at 5. Now, I'm going to talk about the run defense very, very briefly. I don't run it, so I don't want to talk about it a whole lot. Again, this is mainly stuff that I run personally. I'm not going to give you guys stuff that doesn't work, but I'll show it briefly. We'll start out again in the cover 3 sky, and I can kind of also, if I wanted to, duplicate the same cover 2 concept that I was running out of 3-3-5. You could duplicate the same thing out of big nickel over G if you wanted to. Very important when you're in big nickel over G, get those safeties at linebacker. You don't have to do any audibling. Also go to the slot cornerback package to get those right adjustments. But just show it very briefly against stretch. You're going to just pinch your D-line, kind of use her here. And it doesn't work every time. You'll probably see it not work every time. But the ball's going to be snapped. You're going to kind of shoot through this gap. That was not done very cleanly, but you see that's kind of how you do it. And again, Xavier Woods, Donovan Wilson are not ideal safeties. And it really does have to be timed perfectly. I'm not good at it. I have not run this in a minute. But just to kind of show what it looks like, that's what it looks like. And you see how I was able to get there really quickly. I'll show it one more time. Just to kind of give you guys the rep, see how it actually works. Snap the ball, and again, you have to be in a perfect position. I was just a little bit slow, and I end up getting blocked. But the backside, defense is not terrible. You see we're getting sheds, we're getting tackles for loss. Again, you just kind of want to stand in the middle almost. I like to stand a little bit further to the left and just run straight through this gap. That was done perfectly there. And you see how it was able to be reflected with a tackle for loss. So pretty solid. Let's hop into the run or the pass defense. Again, I'm not running too much big nickel over G these days. If you watched my gameplays, you know that. But I'll hop into it briefly. So what I'm going to do is I want my linebacker to play the zone on the wide side of the field. So I'm going to put Xavier Woods here in the hard flat, and I'm going to throw DeMarcus Lawrence in the hard flat. So a little bit more of D lineman coverage that we had not had too much in 3-3-5 wide. Again, 3-man rush, pressed. I can deep half that strong side if I want to, but just a very standard basic cover 3. A little bit easier for you guys to know if you're a beginner type player. A little bit easier for you to remember rather than 3-3-5 wide, which could be a little bit more complicated with the audibling system. We'll snap the ball. Got to use this little spot route here between the curls. You don't have help in the middle of the field, so be careful with that. But again, standard coverage, standard stuff. Especially for a runner, they're not going to have too special of run or pass concepts, so it's not that big of a deal that you're not manning this player up, doing cross-man, weird crap. You can just keep it simple, basic stuff, just like this. Again, you're going to put that linebacker in a hard flat on the wide side of the field. You're going to reflect that with a defensive lineman hard flat on the short side. Again, blitz your user. Let's go with some kind of play action stuff here. Going to work down the crosser. You see how he's defended by our 25-yard curl flat zone drop. So pretty simple, basic concept. I think a lot of you guys should have that down. Let's move into the man coverage, which I did not set up, so I'm going to go ahead and set that up briefly. The play we're going to run once more is going to be this cover 1 hole at the bottom. There's also some blitz plays. You can run strong safety linebacker blitz. There's a user rush. I've done separate videos on big nickel over G. I've done full ebooks where I go way more in depth than I probably am right here, because back in the day I was running this formation mainly. But yeah, I'm not running it too much. There are some good plays out of it. I've done a lot of videos on the formation. You can go back and find those pretty easily. But let's go with some gun bunch again here. I'm going to stick with this kind of Z-spot play concept. Now, cover 1 hole, you can adjust out of it a number of ways. Now, it's more difficult to adjust in the secondary when you have 4 down linemen. That's pretty much a given. We already do have our inside third kind of stock, which is usually a little bit helpful considering the fact that we're adjusting with it anyways. Now, as far as the 3 receiver hook goes, I like to have my 3 receiver hook on the field. I don't like to user it. I could just go with a stock man coverage like this, and then I could curl flat the wide side of the field, something like this. Spread my D lineman so that my D lineman is as far as you can get. I could easily run a concept like this, use the 3 receiver hook. And this wouldn't be a bad choice at all. I could just go with something, again, Z-spot type setup. Now, if I were to use the 3 receiver hook, I would probably go up and end up flipping these guys anyway. So I would just put Donovan Wilson on the running back, and I would just use X Woods right here. Again, I'm going to press shade over the top, and you see the coverage will not be bad in any way, shape, or form. Now, that corner out's very good, so he's going to get some good separation. And the biggest problem with big nickel over G is we had a curl flat zone drop with Alden Smith, but he just does not get out there. You almost have to put a linebacker in the curl flat, which is kind of what we'll do next play. You see how he's in 25 yards. I mean, this curl flat, I think, is going a little bit deeper than that. We're on around the 50, and the corner out's going to run to about the 25, but you see our 25 zone drops stuck at 20, and he starts strafing back. So that would be an easy pass to complete and throw over the top with a better receiver. So when you're running man coverage, you need to get these curl flats with our outside linebackers. An easy alternate to that would be to just put A in the curl flat, and then I would put Donovan Wilson in our inside third. I would man up B on Y, and this is probably the best way to run it overall. You're going to get athleticism with the zone drop. You're still going to get an athletic safety in the middle of the field, and then you can man up the running back pretty simply there. So let's just go with like a little weird spacing switch type play. You see the coverage going to be very solid there as I throw out my user, but just some simple ways to kind of rotate the zones. And yeah, I think I gave you guys some good ideas. Didn't talk about that man coverage too much, but there are some other ideas you could go with. Just kind of putting D lineman. I could put a linebacker here. I'll show one more briefly as I accidentally hit my camera there. Not good at all. But I'll show one more idea, and it would just be basically to flip these players, flip this safety and the inside linebackers, what I'm referring to, just like so. And obviously, I get even more complicated with two-man rush. I put my outside D end in a three receiver hook or a bluff blitz in our case, and then you can start getting glitchy here. But yeah, pretty standard stuff. Solid defense, and you can easily have success with that. But yeah, it's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy this long ebook, go ahead and hit that subscribe button once again. Also drop a like if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. Go ahead, follow me down below. And yeah, peace. I'm out of here.